First item, counselors, I'd like to ask if you've had an opportunity to review the minutes for the meeting of April 26th, and if we can have a motion and a second.
I move approval of our last meeting minutes.
Second.
Right, thank you. Counselors, I would like to ask if you would entertain to allow me to amend the agenda today. We will be going out of order, but I would like to add an item regarding the committee assistant salary, the CAP ordinance, and if you would allow us to add that to our agenda this afternoon.
That is an excellent idea.
Thank you. Approval and a second for that?
Is there no notice requirement?
No, because we're not meeting as a committee of the whole. We're just amending the agenda.
Okay, second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, counselors. Before we go into this item, I do want to say, as a matter of old business, I will be bringing back to you a request that we look into our ordinance regarding our council meetings and how we prepare those agendas and how we have items on that agenda. And I was going to ask, and this is where I defer to you, Mrs. Abbott, if you thought this was a good place for that to come as an administration committee item. And I really would like for us to look at, again, just how we set that agenda and particularly how we have an opportunity to hear from the public and what we do with that ordinance as far as allowing that. Any questions or comments about that, if we could bring that to this body?
I'm just curious, are we going to compare it to anything, or we're just going to consider ways to change it?
When I was
standard?
Yes, when I was present at, some of us attended the League of Municipalities meeting, their annual meeting back in Tuscaloosa, and we did have an opportunity to hear from council, part of their legal counsel, and one of the items that we took up was how to make those meetings more effective, because our council meetings are business meetings. And so they just asked us to look back as a council of maybe taking any opportunity that we could to just look at how we prepare our agenda and some of the requirements that we have or what we set in place for allowing opportunities like that for presentations as well as for our speakers list. So there will be some comparative. We do have some data from the League of Municipalities to show us how other cities are doing that. And maybe this is just an opportunity to just make that more, opening, but as far as also giving us some guidelines on how to conduct those meetings.
Well, interestingly, I came across a letter the other day that was written before I was on the city council, and I'm not really sure why I had it, but it was about the topics that speakers could speak about, and that they were supposed to address their comments to items that were on the agenda, not come and talk about any old thing they wanted to talk about for 3 minutes. And it was advice, I think it was from the law department, but it could have been from the city clerk's office, but I saved it. I just have to find where I saved it.
Well, I'm glad that you did. I would love it, and that's something we can enter into the documents that we'll be looking at. And so this is just to start the dialogue and to say that I don't believe we'll have a meeting scheduled for July, but it's something maybe we could take up with our August meeting and prepare the information for review by the committee members.
Well, when I read that, it did make me think, though, that when sometimes people come to speak to us who have an issue that isn't being resolved and they need to get some attention and they've already tried all the usual means. And this, what this letter basically said was that you couldn't do that. And I think that's an important thing for citizens to be able to come before us if they've followed all the rules, they've taken all the steps, and they still have a problem. That's an important, there's the people who come in here and yell at us for no apparent reason. I don't care to hear that anymore, but citizens who've tried to do things the right way and have been rebuffed or just basically ignored. I really think it's important to give them away.
I'm in total agreement because I really want this not to be deemed as something being restrictive, but to allow an opportunity again for citizens to come down and have the dialogue with the council, because we may not be aware of the issue that they have taken up, and it allows us an opportunity to advocate and to get them to the right city services, or again, to be made aware of any issues that they may have, that they really need that help of the council to move forward.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing, but anyway, we can talk about
Okay.
it, I'll look for that.
Yes, thank you. And if you'll look to that,
I'll
we'll
look
get
for that letter, because I know I didn't throw it away, and I think I know where I put it, but
Thank you very much. We
that's,
appreciate
that's
that.
dangerous.
All
what I
right, so
think.
we'll look forward to that, and then we'll be sure we get you that information in a timely manner so that you'll be able to come to it, discuss that at that August meeting. Thank you. Yes. Thank
I'm
you.
sure that was just a slip.
Yes. The next item under new business, I did add and ask you councilors to amend to allow us to have a discussion today through this committee on an ordinance that would set the salary ceiling for committee assistants and our chiefs of staff, so that we can again compensate that staff at a level where we can be sure that we have staff that are bringing the right skill sets and allow us the opportunity to manage our offices in a manner that we would be able to. We know right now, through the great resignation that occurred as a part of the pandemic, most companies and organizations are having trouble having the talent and also being able to retain staff. So if you would allow us, we would like to just open that discussion. We have our Deputy Administrator, Mr. Jeff McDaniels. And Mr. McDaniels, could you just talk to us a little bit about what this ordinance would provide for our council offices?
Madam President.
Yes,
Madam President.
he's going to bring you that mic.
We're definitely microphone challenged.
There you go.
Test.
Thank you, Coach.
Gee, that sounded pretty good. Never sounds that good when
It sure
somebody's
did.
trying to talk into it.
Madam President, members of the committee, I can just maybe speak to some of the structural issues we're having inside of the department, but I would defer to the content to the Office of the City Attorney. And I
Okay.
think Attorney Keith Sheffield is here to address that. So we can make use of maybe his time. If you'll go
Thank you.
first, that I can
All right.
follow him.
Thank you, Attorney Sheffield. Now we got to bring the mic back.
Test.
Thank you, Attorney Sheffield. We appreciate you joining us today.
Sheffield, Office of the City Attorney. There was a slight revision, I think, to the agenda item from this morning, item number 28. Identified, based upon statutory guidance, that kind of the procedure that we've used and the city has used in the past in order to do these increases on behalf of the council, a resolution 2013. So, during OCA's review item, we identified actually that there's an Alabama Code section that controls 1143-7, and it basically mandates that salaries are set by ordinance. So we made that. The other statutory provision, which I think speaks to this issue specifically, is our own mayor. It's section 3.07, specifically paragraph 7 of that ordinance, which basically requires the entire council's. I'll actually read you if you
Thank you.
would.
Yes.
I'd like to read paragraph 7. It says without limitation of the foregoing, the council shall have the power to employ for and on behalf of said city such employees as the council may deem necessary to assist the council and perform such duties relating to the work of the council as the president of the council may assign. Such employees shall serve at the pleasure of the council at such compensation as the council may set, and shall not be under any merit or civil service system. So, pursuant to the provisions of the Mayor Council Act as well as Alabama Code 7, we amended
Okay.
giving the power to the full council for the
Okay. Thank you very much. Councilors, do you have any questions for Mr. Sheffield regarding the, I guess, the legal side of what we were trying to propose? Ms. Clark?
So what is meant by the language exclusive of any annual increases granted to all other City of Birmingham employees?
That was actually language that was proposed by the council. I'll let Mr. McDaniels.
Just, we'll table that question. I'll come back to it when
Okay.
you're done with Keith.
Okay.
Attorney Sheffield, excuse me.
Any other questions for Attorney Sheffield? Thank you, Attorney Sheffield, and we'll just ask you if you'll just stay close in case we want to come back with any of those. Thank you very much. I do appreciate you giving us, again, the statutes or the other ordinances that relate around this change that we're trying to make. Mr. McDaniels, did you want to go ahead and give us an overview?
Yes, Madam Chair, Councilor Clark. So using the two examples that were given by Attorney Sheffield in 2008 and again in 2013, employees on the council side who are the legislative body and governed by the Mayor Council Act, separate and apart from the administration, if their salary schedule did not change, then they would be excluded from COLAs or longevity pay given to other city employees. So that language, in my opinion, was a balancing act to ensure that if there were no changes in salary matrix or salary schedules inside of our department, that city council employees would not be treated indifferently than other employees for which a raise was included in the annualized budget.
I got you. So, for example,
Yes.
it's basically saying that we set these salaries, but they can be raised by COLAs
Correct.
applicable to, okay. Okay.
So the last change in compensation for committee assistants occurred in 2013. Since 2013, there have been 9, I believe, my calculation is correct, 9 adjustments by virtue of COLAs that have occurred. So that the administration takes the money from COLA and programs it into your budget to capture the annualized difference in the salary. But in
Gotcha.
short, the salary cap has been the same since 2013.
Gotcha. Now it finally makes sense to me. It wasn't clicking for me before. I know you answered it for me before.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Abbott?
So have we had people resign because we're not paying them enough money? Why are we doing this at this time?
So,
I'll let you answer.
Madam President, Councilor Abbott, I think where with emphasis, Attorney Sheffield made the point about the council's decision. I think precedent has established that for individual staffers, counselors within the respective district have made that decision. I don't think now or in any previous year's history that we have not noticed that there has been turnover with staffing. Some of the changes in staff have been due to compensation or other issues, but there has been some turnover due to compensation. But I would rather reserve, that to a general comment than speaking specifically about a council district who the counselor may not be present. And I think, to protect the relationship that that counselor has with his or her staff. But quite naturally, there's been turnover.
Well, I know when I came in, the cap was $35,000. And we raised it in 2002 because $35,000 was pretty low. And we've gone from $35,000 now to $173,000, which I don't think we've had that big of a cost of living increase over 20 years to go from 35 to 173. We just keep on running it up. So this is, as I recall, this is salary only, and the benefits issue is just based on whether they're full-time or part-time. And isn't that accurate? And it's not included in here.
So, in part, Madam Chair, Councilor
Yes.
Abbott, you are correct. Benefits is a separate line item. Benefits are not necessarily predicated if you're full or part-time. The City of Birmingham benefits are optional for full-time employees, and not all employees participate. I don't have our budget before us, but I believe in one of those line items, it might have been fringe retirement. That amount for us decreased because we had some people who retired. So the city's contribution towards those who were participating in the retirement plan reduced for our particular line item in our budget for our department. So there are some variations to those examples around benefits. If it's about the dollar amount, I think, and I cannot speak to the history of 2002, but I know as of today, and if we want to, maybe go through this, again, where I think it's a district-specific set of details. Each counselor has the ability to hire up to 2 full-time, 2 part-time staffers. I think the counselors who have a staff being plural, you can see the utilization of the total amount within the cap being shared across employees. I guess if there's a question about the increase of the amount, then disproportionately that could be looked at based on counselors who have a smaller number of staffers. But I think in terms of what each district needs or what each counselor needs, the amount of money allows them the latitude to do what fits their constituents and their needs within that respective district office. But the total amount, if the question is about the total amount for committee assistant's salary, if it's all used, and it's not all used in every district office, is $1.5 million.
Yeah, well,
Did that help you, Ms. Abbott? Did you have anything else?
yeah, I'm just chuckling that it's gone from a total cost of $315,000 for 9 council districts to $1.559,250. So a little over $1.5 million. It's pretty significant.
Right, and let me ask if I may, Mr. McDaniels, the 1.5, then is that inclusive then of those benefits, or that is just raw salary?
It's just salaries.
Okay.
Now again, that's the budgeted amount across each council district. All salaries are not being used at the maximum level. And
It's
the
hard to
difference-
find good help these days.
And the difference goes back to the fund balance. So
All right.
it's just the budgeted amount. It's not the actual utilized amount.
And Mrs. Abbott, if I can ask you, the 30-something thousand that you talked about, was that for each council office at that time? Mm-hmm. And that was what you said, 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So we do know, again, I think it helps to put in place, just as employers what we're having to deal with again at this juncture to retain and attract staff that we think could be a benefit not only to our offices but to the residents that they're assisting in their daily actions, or as we put those individuals into roles for each of our office. So that can be a bit of a sticker shock. I agree with you. What we were paying 20 years ago, what we're having to utilize now to recruit and retain. Any other questions, counselors? Again, this item will come before us with our next agenda item for our next city council, but I did want to just give opportunity for committee to have an opportunity to talk about this item today. Ms. Abbott?
Well, yes, and it's a requirement that everything that goes on our agenda go through a committee. It doesn't, of course, not designating which one, because every topic has someplace different to go, but we need to follow our own rules. And I'm sure we have people who don't even know what our rules are, but that's one of them.
Well, thank you. And I guess what I just want to be sure, what have we done in the past when we have an item that needs to be expedited? I was thinking we had considered it within the whole.
Do we need to expedite this?
No, not necessarily. I'm just asking, in cases of, what have we done in the past when we've had to do something like that?
Call a special meeting.
Okay, all right. And so that's what we'll be sure to work with our administrative team. Mr. McDaniels, can you lend some conversation on that as well?
Yeah. Madam Chair, I would just ask, where I know this is somewhat, interpretive in nature, and the Office of the City Attorney may not have an opinion, but in part, there's conflicting language in the code that also allows any council member to bring an item before the council. That's one. And then number two, from the administrative side, where this item was presented from the council side, there have been times, as recent as today, where the administration has sought an addendum based on an emergency, and the item did not move through a committee, and the council considered it, maybe with little to no debate or conversation, and the item was approved. So I think there are exceptions that span the horizon in terms of the process. However, the council is responsible for the governance of its meetings and its rules.
Thank you for that clarification.
I mean, it's our rule. I mean, we have our own set of rules for conducting ourselves. And it's true. We have had people who've just done as they darn well pleased and given everybody else the finger. And as long as they could get 5 votes, they just went along fat, dumb, and happy. But if there was an emergency here, I certainly didn't hear anything about an emergency. So I'm sorry if I messed up somebody's plans.
No, we just went through the process, and so we'll entertain it next week. Just wanted to, again, have this opportunity to bring it through this committee so that we could have an opportunity to discuss. So thank you all, counselors. We won't take any action on this item. Other than that, we had the discussion. I don't know if you want to refer it to the council. Well, it could come from this committee, so I would like, if there was that pleasure of the members, it would be great.
Well, this would be the appropriate committee for it to come from.
I'd like to make a motion that we recommend this to the full council.
Thank you. Is there a second? I'll second it.
Figured you would.
All those in favor of this item, I think we've had the discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposers?
I'll just abstain.
Thank you. All right, so that item will move to the full council. Thank you all, Attorney Sheffield and Deputy Administrator McDaniels, for allowing us this opportunity to take up this issue. The next item on our order of business is an annexation request of 4641 Highway 280, and it's in unincorporated Shelby County. And I believe we have our senior planner, Mr. Donald Wilborn, that can walk us through this item and give us more information about it. Thank you, Mr. Wilborn.
Good afternoon, and thank you for your patience. My name is Don Wilborn, and I am a senior planner. I'm here with our planning department. The item that is before you is an annexation request for property located at 4641 Highway 280. Earlier this spring, this property, which is located in unincorporated Shelby County, was pre-zoned by this council this spring to allow for the development of an apartment complex. As part of that rezoning case, the applicant was required to come back and have the property annexed into the city of Birmingham. This item has been before the Planning and Zoning Committee back in May, and that committee that subcommittee approved that annexation item. As part of that case, we also had to come back before the administration committee to also have them review this item. Based on the decision of this committee, we would then move this item forward to the full council for their approval.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wilborn. Any questions from committee members regarding this request? Ms. Abbott?
This will be the same process we went through with Attorney Beavers, where he had to come back 4 or 5 times. Will it be like that, or
no, it will be just one time. The reason for that particular annexation for property located on 119 was because that parcel abutted another city. So they had to annex in by sections. Here, this particular piece of property, which is in unincorporated Shelby County, is surrounded on 3 sides by the city of Birmingham. And that there's no sort of city Hoover, which is sort of close enough that would force that requirement.
Okay, well, that's a relief.
We like Mr. Beavers, but we didn't like seeing him
We
that many
like, but we
times.
didn't need to see him that many times.
Thank you.
He didn't really enjoy coming that many times, I don't think.
Thank you.
Well,
Councilor Clark, yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. As far as I'm concerned, our annexation policy is yes, unless it's something horrible. And we even get to add population with this one, so I'm pretty excited.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any questions other than I'm looking at the staff recommendations. And is there any zoning issue that would be required as a result of this annexation?
The zoning was already dealt with by the council earlier this year.
Okay.
So this is sort of the second part, that once the rezoning was approved, then it was upon the applicant to finish the annexation. So that's what this is for.
Thank you. And is the applicant here today?
Yes.
Thank you. If you'll just come up and introduce yourself and I know Mr. Wilborn has given us an overview, but if you just want to talk a bit about your project.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for your time today. My name is Stringer Vogel. I'm with Arlington Properties. As Mr. Wilborn just stated, City Council voted to approve rezoning on April the 22nd unanimously. That rezoning is contingent upon this annexation into the City of Birmingham. That's what we are here today for. I'd be happy to run through kind of a quick overview of the project. I think you guys have already heard that a couple of times at this point, but maybe I'll just open it up.
I was going to say, if you don't mind, just for just purposes, just give us the cliff notes so that for our minutes, it will reflect just what your intended purpose was. And you could just give us just the elevator speech about that project.
Sure. Absolutely. So it's a 272-unit multifamily community on Highway 280, Class A luxury residences. Excited about, we hope the city will be proud of as well.
All right, thank you. Any questions, councilors? As he stated, and you reminded me that we have heard this, I think, under 1 or 2 opportunities where the council has taken some action to get us to this point. So thank you very much. Any questions, councilors? All right, thank you so much. At this time, then, can we entertain a motion and a second for the request for the annexation?
Yes, I move that we recommend approval of the annexation to the full council.
Second.
All right, and no questions. With those all in agreement, please say aye. Aye. Any opposers? All right, thank you very much. Again, we thank you both for bringing this information to us. We look forward to moving forward through the recommendation of this committee. Thank you. Thank you very much. At this time, councilors, do we have any other questions or any other items? Can I ask for a motion for adjournment?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.